Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial for Warhammer Online Return of Reckoning, the private server. And we're going to look at this sniper build I've been running recently with the engineer, which I think is one of the best ones I've run in a while, which can go above 83% armor penetration. So let's go and have a look what we're going to need for this build. So for this build, we're going to need the following. From the Bloodlord set, one helmet, one shoulder, and the gloves. From the Beast Lord, we're going to need the back, the pocket, and the ring. And from the Warlord, we're going to need the belt, the boots, and the ring, just to get all the bonuses with the weapon skill and some more ballistics. And for the rings, we're going to add a few more things. For the rings, I know that we're going to use the Warlord, and we're also going to be using the Beast Lord one. On top of that, we're going to use the Sentinel ring, which you can later replace with the ranked version. And we're also going to need the Stalwart Soulstone to equip that on the Sentinel ring. Personally, I would go for the plus 54 range power instead of the 36 ballistics. And if you feel you don't have enough critical, which we're going to be running this with 37%, you can replace the range power with the 4% crit. The last ring should be Genesis Remnant of the Sharpshooter for 24 wounds and a little bit more ballistics, trying to get it close to the cup. You can play a little bit between weapon skill and ballistics if you want, but we'll see the numbers later and you can make your choices for this build. For weapons, we're going to use the Fortress Wrench and the Fortress Handgun. You can get those by trading them with the Subjugator ones on the appropriate vendor in the palace. And of course, all talismans should be weapon skill. So you're going to need 8 weapon skill talismans, preferably between plus 22 to plus 24, whatever you have available. Now for this build, we have sacrificed a lot of survivability to get the numbers up there. So we're going to have 941 ballistics, including a plus 100 pot that will give us 1041. We're just 9 points below the soft cap, so we are okay. You don't have to be 1050 exactly. Then we're going to have 22% critical chance plus 15 from the tactic. We'll see the tactics later. Weapon skill is going to be at 829, which gives us a 59.2% penetration, arm penetration, which is going to be pretty much permanently there. Our wounds are a little bit low at 7,310, and our chance to receive critical is 12.5. I know these numbers may sound or look a little bit weird, but I want you to keep in mind that with this build, we're trying to get the numbers up there. This is a build where you can play when you are up in a wall defending, when you're attacking, you're definitely going to have a group, or if you roam solo, you're going to have to find a nice top spot to be a sniper and kill your solo kills from there. It doesn't come with a lot of survivability, but we'll do some testing and we'll see the numbers, and I think you will like it. So far, we're at 59.2% weapon skill. At this point, I need to tell you that if you want to change a little bit of weapon skill for ballistics, you can still do that. If you want to change some weapon skill for wounds, if you feel a bit too low, but it has been working all right with me as long as you're part of a warband, part of a group, and you find some, let's say, secure spots up high so people can get to you straight away. So let's go and see the tactics, the morales, and then we'll do some testing and see what damage we can get. Now for tactics, we're going to use fighting chance to get 120 ballistics and 120 weapon skill. We're going to lose some toughness, of course, but we're going for the damage output. Masterful aim for 160 ballistics. Trace around from the tree, which is going to see the trees and the path we choose later, for the plus 15% critical chance. And then you will get an option. Either we're going to play with a well-oiled machine when we're running around in warbands and groups and we want to deploy our turret really quickly, or we're going to switch that for coordinated fire for the plus 15% damage from all sources to single target as long as the dot is on the target when we are doing keep defense, or we just need the extra firepower. Of course, that's going to delay the drop of the turret, but we're going to have to make some choices to make this work depending on the situation. Now for morale, we're going to use morale 1 concealment. That will give us 7-second immunity to range. That includes squiggies, maguses, and sorks. So if they focus us on the back lines, we'll have enough time not taking any damage to kill them before they kill us. Mortar round is a good AoE damage in the front, and you can also do mortar round, focus fire, hip shot, and get a little bit more damage and pressure in a group if you're fighting in a group. Number 3, Cannon Smash, which is the best morale we have, 2,400 damage and an armor debuff for 20 odd seconds. That can also go Cannon Smash, Focus Fire, Hip Shot for a burst. And Hell of Doom, which is a nice AoE, which you combine with Focus Fire again to apply a lot of damage to a small area constantly. Now for mortar round, I know some of you will probably prefer to have focused mind, which removes snares, disarm, and all those kind of things. But with the amount of defenses we have in wounds in this build, if you get caught to be close range, disarm, knockdown, or anything like that, you're already dead. So if you're playing alone, just accept it. If you play in a group, the tanks should hunt them away, slow them, knock them down, and you can relocate yourself. So this is not a survival build. This is a possible maximum damage output. At this point, I'd like to make another little point here. Note that this is the best build that I've played myself. There might be someone out there with a different combo that could output a little bit more or have some different ideas. This is just a suggestion of a build that I play, and you can make your own modifications on this one. So for the paths, first we're going to choose the path of Rifleman, and we're going to spend 13 points to go all the way to the top. And from the bottom to the top, we're going to get Crack Shot, which is our disarm, Snipe, the long range attack, 180 feet and maximum range, and of course Armor Piercing Rounds. Armor Piercing Rounds is going to give us the extra 25% to hit 84% armor penetration in theory. And I say in theory because armor piercing rounds is not an armor penetration, it's an armor ignore. It's applied first. So from whatever armor enemy is going to have, we're going to ignore 25%, and then we're going to attack with the 59.2, almost 60 that we have. And if you add those two together, we get a nice 84% armor penetration overall. Plus, you can also use the turret's debuff, which is 945, as an armor debuff, and that's going to increase our damage output even more. So with this build, you can even attack tanks that are very heavily armored. Now in 2022, a lot of the enemy units are going to be using toughness, but if we can bring the armor almost to 0, our damage output will still go up. And that is the theory behind this. The next path we're going to look at to finish this build will be the path of Tinkerer. From the path of Tinkerer, we're going to go all the way up to 11 points, and from bottom to top, we're going to take the Bagman's Keg, which is our heal. It's not great, but it's better to have it than not to have it in a pinch, or if your healer out of line of sight, it might save your life, you never know. And of course, Tracer Rounds, which is also going to be our fourth tactic, which is going to give us the extra 15% critical, as long as we are 100 feet from a turret, and the turret, of course, is alive. Now, the last thing left to do is check the Renowns and then do some shooting here on the dummies and see what numbers we get. For the Renown, we spent all our points on range critical. We took all 4 levels, and then we spent the remaining points taking all 5 levels of weapon skill just to get the armor penetration as high as we did. And we had 1 point left, so we just put it on wounds. Every little thing helps. And at this point, I think we have concluded the build. We talked about everything there is you guys need. Gear, talismans, weapons, jewelry, morals, tactics, and renown. So let's move on to the last part and shoot some dummies and some constructs on the target range and see what numbers we get. So we are in the shooting range right now, so I'm going to drink a 100 ballistic potion to get us to 1041. We're going to drop our gun turret, which is instant, and we're going to have to wait 8 seconds to get full stacks. So we have the extra 20% damage. A reminder, it used to be 40, but they felt it was too much, so they reduced it down to 20%, and they also reduced 20% the damage of the turrets. So that did hurt the engineer a little bit. So now we have our buff on with the pot. We have the 20% from the turret. I'm going to put the turret on passive. I don't want it to shoot the target. So we're going to go with a few cam blasts and get some numbers. This is without ignoring armor. So we get about 1,240 on the shot, 1.6 for the crit, 1.7. So we're going to get out with the extra 25% ignore. Now on the dummy, we may not see a big difference. It's still 1240 simply because the dummy, and this is for you to know, it doesn't have any armor, any resistance, is nothing. It's just blank. So, and I'm only doing Gun Blast, which is the most common skill. So we can go up to 1.8k as a critical, 1.9 if you can see there. So we're going to stop now on that one, and we're going to shoot the construct with a few Gun Blasts. We need 30 seconds for armor piercing rounds to be back up. So let's give it a minute. All right, armor piercing rounds is out of cooldown. So we're going to start shooting the training construct with Gun Blast again. So from 1.2k, we're down to 787 as a standard attack. We're not getting any crits at this point. is still quite a bit for an armored target. We're going to click ignore 25% armor and keep hammering. So for 700 we go all the way to 1.4 critical, 1500 critical, 1013 for a normal attack. So in a armored target is still pretty good to have this kind of numbers. Now this construct has died, so we're going to relocate here, and what we're going to do is we're going to shoot this. So we are at 787, so I'm going to turn around so we don't shoot it, and we're going to wait another 30 seconds for armor piercing rounds to go away, and this time we're going to attack with the armor debuff from the turret, and then we're going to click the ignore armor, and we'll see what numbers we get. So before we start shooting and use all our abilities here, just remember, when you play this sniper build or any sniper build, you need to have your pet, your turret on passive and manually tell it when to attack so you get the armor debuff. So we're going to ask it to attack and we're going to start shooting. Now it didn't get the armor debuff on. Now that is a bit of a problem. It does happen. So I'm going to turn around so I don't shoot. I'm just going to wait to see if he's going to apply the debuff. Right, the armor, as you can see, is reduced by 940. I'm going to turn around and start shooting. We got 10 seconds on that debuff. So we got the critical of 1200. We got 881. So from 787 up to 881 with the armor debuff. We're going to go with ignore 25%. We're going to have 2 shots on this. 1500 crit, 1.6k crit. I'm going to carry on this guy. My buff is gone though. 1.4, 1000 crit. So as you can see, we have the numbers. Maybe they're not as good as they would be against if we were a spellcaster, of course, like a magus or a sorc or a bright wizard, and these guys have armor. But if you can do this amount of damage to an armored target, if you shoot someone like a shaman or a sorc or a squiggy that doesn't, your damage is going to be a lot more. So this is the build. I hope you guys give it a shot, try it out if you have the gear, and happy hunting.